Regina, Lori, this is for you and for anyone else who needs to hear this right now. I'm gonna do my makeup while I do this because I'm gonna talk, just as a trigger warning, I'm gonna talk about depression, depressive episodes, and just not feeling really well. So if you're in a vulnerable space right now and you just kind of need like not to be around that, this is your fair warning, okay? All right, so I'm gonna do my makeup, and today I'm going to use, you know, I talked about this palette like once. I reviewed it, and like I don't think I ever talked about it again, but I'm gonna use the e.l.f. Earth and Ocean palette, and I won't, like, that's the only thing I'm gonna really talk about. So anyway, in February, I found out that my birth father had passed away. And the reason this was kind of not, well, I mean, a parent passing away is always important, but I found out in February that he passed away in January. Hold on. Root beer break. That he passed away in January. I didn't have Facebook Messenger at the time, and my birth father and I are estranged, or we were estranged. We didn't talk, we didn't have any kind of relationship. And I don't really want to get into the reasons why, but basically when he divorced my mom, he decided that he just didn't want to be a family anymore, and that was it. So I was like 9 or 10, and you know, he tried with like weekends and, you know, stuff like that. But as I got older, it was just very much apparent to me that this person wasn't capable of having a emotionally mature relationship. And I tried for so many years, and for so many years I was just like, what's wrong with me? Why can't this work? It was really hard. And so I had to make the decision about 7 years ago when I first moved to Oregon, to basically just cut it off. This is the Anastasia eye primer. I don't love it because I think it dries down too fast, but we're just gonna use it today because we're not leaving the house. So after I moved to Oregon, like that was basically like the last round, and so we haven't really spoken since. And I always knew, because he had health problems before, like he had diabetic complications and had like a kidney transplant, and you know, was very, very, he was very ill, and like he was a cancer survivor and everything. But he just wasn't able to have, like, even as an adult, like he wasn't able to have like an adult relationship, like where we would just like, even just being like understanding where my pain came from, like in my formative years, and like trying to talk to someone about it. I'm gonna use these three, the Oasis, the Trenches, and Siren. We're gonna see how that look comes out. So we're gonna do a blue look for like, I just feel like a blue look for summer. But anyway, so I was, you know, really kind of, I was surprised but not surprised. And it was, I think the thing that bothered me more than anything was that I wasn't sad the way I thought I should be sad. Like, in my mind, I should have been filled with grief, and I should have been, you know, devastated, but I wasn't. And I felt like a monster because of that. But I felt sad because the way you feel sad when like a stranger passes away, or like when you hear about somebody dying in like a car accident or something. But the truth is, I didn't know him very well, and he didn't know me very well. And I think the thing that always kept me away and kept me from trying again is because I always felt like he didn't really want to know me. I think, I know it's kind of like petty to assume this now, and like he can't defend himself because he's passed away, but I look so much like my mom. Like, I mean, I am the spitting image of my mom. And I think that maybe looking at me was painful because maybe it reminded him of like a failed marriage. But the truth is like he was a gay man who got married in the 80s because in the 80s they tried to like pray the gay away or whatever. And, you know, it was not a good scene back then, for sure. But I really like the way this is blending out. I haven't used this color in a long time, but so I started feeling like I was the person who, I know this sounds crazy, but I felt like I was the person who had murdered him, like with my thoughts, because I hadn't cared enough, or because I hadn't like been there enough, or, you know, I felt really rotten, and like I was the problem. And the truth is that I was a kid and there was nothing that I could have done to make that better. Honestly, I spent a lot of my life hating him and being really, really mad, because how can you create life with another person and then just like leave? Like me and my brother, I'm not gonna lie, like me and my brother were really messed up because of it. Like we both have crazy bad abandonment issues. It's caused us both to make like bad relationship decisions in the past, and I know that a lot of that stems from neither one of us want to be left. And I know that like it's really hard. But I don't think like our birth father is a bad person. I just think that he's somebody who wasn't ready to have children, didn't have children for the right reasons. Oh, there goes my brush. Didn't have children for the right reasons, and I'm just taking a clean brush just to like blend out the crease, but didn't have any kind of real, like, I mean, kids don't come with an instruction book. Like, I get that, right? But at the same time, like, I would never just walk out the door and leave. And maybe he thought that that was the best way to, maybe he didn't see any other way of like us being a family. I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to speculate, and I don't want to like make accusations, because again, he's like not here to defend himself. He can't, you know, I'm not saying he was a bad person. I'm just saying I disagree with the parenting decisions that he made, or just the decision not to parent at all. And so this was kind of like the catalyst of me just internalizing all of these like abandonment issues, all of these like, I'm never going to be good enough. I'm never going to be, why would anyone like listen to me? And like at this time I was like losing subscribers, nobody was watching my videos, and like, so all of this together, like I'm not saying that for sympathy, like at all. I'm saying like that just happens because like I've never really gone full hog into creating the kind of content I want to create, because I've always felt like, well, I'm not really like pretty enough or good enough, and like nobody really cares what I think, and it's, you know, it's really narcissistic of me to like even be making videos. And so like all of these negative like self-talk things just like kept piling on and piling on and piling on and piling on. And I knew that nothing I was going to try to create was going to be good, and it might have even been like hurtful to me, to other people, you know. And so yeah, I just didn't want, I didn't want that to happen. And I didn't want that to, because once you post something on the internet, like it's out there for forever. And I wanted to be able to take time and just exist with my thoughts. And you do have to wet these shimmers, but they are pretty good. So I wasn't ready to really like talk about this at all. until now, until I really had like a grasp of, you know, how should I approach this? How should I talk about this? What, you know, what is okay for me to say? What's not okay for me to say? What's fair? What's not fair? And so I think I can only speak to, you know, how I felt. And growing up, I always felt like, well, if one of the people who like created me didn't want me and basically rejected me as a person, then nobody was ever going to like me or love me or accept me or do any of those things, because obviously there's something so intrinsically wrong with me that somebody who was, you know, my parent would reject me like that. And the truth is that lots of people don't have two parents, and lots of people get along just fine and they don't go into depressive episodes. And that was the other part too, is that, you know, the other part, like, I don't know if you've ever seen that video of like the Kardashians where Kim Kardashian's like crying because her earring is like in the ocean. She's like, it's like $100,000 or $10,000 earring or whatever. And then Courtney, or not Courtney, yeah, it was Courtney. Courtney's like, Kim, people are dying. And so like, I feel like my inner Kim and Courtney's were feuding, where I was like, I'm so sad. This is all about me. And then the other part of me is like, really? Like, somebody died and like this is about you? And so like it was self-hatred like 360, you know? And so finally I just came to the realization that these feelings were normal, and I just had to give myself time. And like, even after acknowledging that, it didn't make it better. I had to kind of, I call it cocooning, where I just sort of kind of close everybody off from the world and myself and just kind of cocoon. And it was okay, and it was pretty easy until I got laid off. I got laid off in mid-April, and I got laid off in mid-April from the cardiology clinic that I was working with. And, you know, it's because of coronavirus, like a lot of people aren't going into the specialty clinics anymore. Hold on, root beer break. A lot of people aren't going into the specialty clinics anymore. They're just not, you know, that's just not a thing that people are doing right now. And so, which is fine, but, you know, I got on unemployment, Tarek's still working, we're okay, and like, I'm still looking for work. So everything was fine. Like, we're okay. Please don't worry about us. I'm really worried about you though. I hope you're okay. I hope you're safe, sane, and healthy. I really hope that. And happy. I really want you to be happy. But we just, so Tarek's been working, and Tarek's like always really the super happy-go-lucky sort of person. Hi, honey. It's hold on, come here. Come say hi.
Hello.
Yeah, so Tarek's always like the super go-lucky happy person. I wanted to put him on camera because he has not had a haircut and like since this all started, and it looks adorable. He looks like the black version of Alfalfa. And so but anyway, I was like alone with my thoughts all day because he's working. You know, he starts work at like 6 in the morning, doesn't end until 3. And a good thing happened, but I'm not sure I'm comfortable with how it happened. Before, I would just like eat my feelings all the time, and I don't know if you know what that's like. I'm using the Pacifica Alight Clean Foundation in 23 in neutral medium. This is a little too dark for me right now because I haven't been out in the sun. So we're gonna cut it with the Colourpop Pretty Fresh Tinted Moisturizer in Light 6W. And so I just was not at all, oh my god, that's way too much. All right, well, it's gonna be a full coverage kind of day, ladies, or gents, or toasters, as Teresa is dead says. So it was just really, I was alone with my thoughts, and usually I would just like eat that's what my coping mechanism has always been. Like, oh, I'm sad, eat. I'm happy, celebrate with food. I'm anxious, like, have a snack. You know, that's always, always, always been my coping mechanism. And it's led to weight gain and being overweight and like having disordered eating. For the longest time, I think I didn't want to admit that I had an eating disorder. Because I didn't look like someone who had an eating disorder. I would, you know, eat to excess, and then I would eat nothing for like a day or two. Or I would work out for 2 hours on end and be just, and say like, oh, well, no, I'm getting healthy. I'm detoxing or whatever. Your body doesn't need detox. Like that's why you have a liver. You're fine. And like, I knew that, and I know that, but it was just really difficult to make myself understand that like, you don't have to be 95 pounds to be an anorexic or to have disordered eating. Like, I haven't been diagnosed with anorexia, but I'm for sure have disordered eating, and I've always had disordered eating. Probably mostly more overeating than anything else, but I would punish myself with like not eating and like excessive working out and stuff. And so, and I think this is really common, and I think most women don't talk about it. But the thing is, because I was having to be alone with my thoughts all the time, and because I was having to, like, there was no other outlet, there was no other thing, and like, I couldn't eat all day, all the time, and I was so sad. This had never happened to me before. I was so sad that I just didn't want to eat. Like, I didn't want to use that as a coping mechanism. I don't know what changed. I don't know what happened, but I think I just realized that it wasn't fixing the problem. And so I cried. I would cry for like hours on end for like no reason. And I feel like maybe I just had all of this stuff pent up inside and had never let myself like cry it out. Like I'd never let myself just kind of be like, okay, here, be vulnerable, oh my God, I have something in my eye. I don't think I'd ever let myself like just be. I'd always been the person who had to, go run off and fix something, save something, do something. I've always worked, and I've always worked usually, even if I don't start off in like a responsible position where like I always end up with like the keys to a place, and because I'm reliable and like I show up on time and like I do the things you're supposed to do, and then do other stuff. But because I think so much of my identity was wrapped up in that, I never let myself like cry or be upset or be just be a human. Like I was always having to justify my feelings to myself. Like, oh, I'm going to, you can't be this way, or you can't think that way because, as the revolution conceal and define in that's C9 or C6? C6. So I know I said I wasn't going to talk about the products, but like, I don't know. It's just like, it's kind of a way for me to break up without me having to say a bunch of times, which I'm sure I'm doing anyway. But anyways, so that's what I've been doing. I've been crying. I've been crying because I'm so frustrated about the government and public response to this really, really dangerous virus. I've been crying because I felt like a terrible person because I wasn't devastated when my birth father passed away. And I knew that if my stepfather passed away, the person who raised me, So my stepfather raised me. My stepfather was the one who taught me how to drive. He was the person who was there for my first date. He was the person who hated my first real boyfriend, and for good reason. Papa, you were so right. Um, and, you know, and I knew that I was making the right decision to marry Tarek when my dad liked him. My dad's the most amazing human on the planet. And in all honesty, I feel like there was maybe like a genetic mix-up, because I'm so much like my stepdad. Like we're so much alike, and I'm nothing like my birth father. Which kind of makes sense because we never spent any time together. So, or we spent very little time together. But my stepdad and I, like, we were just like thick as thieves, like from the beginning. And I'm definitely much more related to my stepfather than I am to any other person who I happen to share genetics with. I know that if my actual if my stepfather passed away, I wouldn't be able to function. I wouldn't be able to, like, it would be, yeah, I don't even want to think about it. I don't want to think about it. That's how, like, terrible it would be for me. But, you know, it would be terrible for anybody to lose a parent like that. But it's just, like I said, that's what I've been doing and what I've been up to, because I just really didn't want to deal with, I'm going to use the Tartiest eyeliner. I didn't want to deal with my feelings about my birth father, because I thought for sure, like, I'm just gonna find out how bad of a person I am, because I can't forgive him, because I can't let it go, because he never said goodbye, and like he didn't have the decency to do that. Or, you know, leave a letter or anything about it. And someone, you know, I'm sure that you could say, well, you didn't reach out either. I reached out for so many years, and I tried to connect for so long. And the truth is, it wasn't ever my responsibility to do that. It was his. And so if you are in a similar situation where you are dealing with a parent, you know, mom, dad, you know, whoever, who has maybe not been a part of your life, and you are trying to have a relationship and it's not working because they just aren't willing, like, you need to understand that that's not your responsibility. It's not your responsibility to fix the relationship that someone else broke. So that's what I've learned since February, and what I've tried to avoid. And I've been dealing with just, you know, lots there. Okay, so it's not your responsibility to fix a relationship that somebody else broke, and you aren't responsible for what that person does or doesn't do. And so that is what I've been trying to make myself understand and learn, because I think that I just didn't want to hear it from myself. It's really important. It's my AC remote. I turned off the AC for you guys so you could hear me. I don't think you understand how much I love you because of that, because it is like 83 degrees here today, and that is too freaking hot for Oregon, just so you know. That's not an acceptable temperature. It's not an acceptable temperature. I want to speak to Life's manager. I will Karen the weather. So I just wanted to make this video to let anybody who is suffering through something similar understand that you're not alone, that you're normal, that your feelings, your ideations, like, all of those things are normal, and you don't have to be alone through them. Honestly, the thing that got me through was watching like Andrea Montiano's videos and like Kelly Gooch and Amy Loves Makeup and just like all of the, you know, the like smaller but bigger YouTubers, because they are real. And I know that we're not like really friends, but it was like hearing a friend's voice, and like I honestly just needed like a, I don't know why I'm emotional. Like, this is something so dumb to be emotional about. But like, I needed just to know that there was another friendly voice in the room, and that like I wasn't hot fire human garbage trash because of how I was feeling, you know? And even though like I know none of them had any idea what was going on, it still was like a sort of therapy for me, where just watching people like create looks or watching people declutter, like that was another really huge thing. Like I would watch people declutter and it would be so soothing, because it was just like, okay, this no longer serves me, so I'm letting it go and giving it to someone else. And like that I think was like the best sort of release for me. And so I watched a ton of declutter videos. I love Samantha March's lipstick declutter videos, and like I don't think I've ever seen so many nudes in one place in my life. Like no tea, no shade. I love a good nude, but I just thought it was like amazing. And I thought it was an amazing, you know what, I'm going to pop on my mascara and be right back. I love the Lash Princess, but like, and it's not its fault that it transfers, but it always transfers to my upper lid because my eyelashes, like just in that spot, are really long. And so I always love the False Effect Lash Princess. I got the volumizing one and that one, but honestly, I love the False Effect one just like way more. I just do. I don't know why. No, I do know why. It's because I just like the look of it better. I feel like the volumizing one volumizes, and that's cool, but I really want a but I really want something to like add length and volume, and I feel like the False Effects does a better job of doing both of those things. So, but yeah, so that's what I've been up to. Basically being like super sad, and to the point where like I couldn't function. So it was actually kind of a blessing in disguise. I feel like I got laid off just at the right time, like right before I had an emotional breakdown. And so it was, I guess, I don't want to say convenient, but serendipitous that they happened at the same time. And so I didn't have to, you know, like leave a job, and I didn't have to really, I didn't really have to give up too much of my comfort level, so that's good. I know so many people right now are struggling, and I feel, and that was the other thing, is like I know people are like struggling and dying, and I am here like sad in my privileged little bubble, my privileged little Northwest bubble. And like that, you know, that was another like fuel for the fire of, you know, what are you even talking about, Stephanie? So after I finished being super sad, what I started being was kind of angry at myself. I haven't tried this in a while. This is a Lipsurgence by Tarte in the color Blissful, and we're gonna see how this looks with this. This is like maybe a little too warm toned for this look, but we're just gonna try it. It's gonna happen. I don't think it's too bad. So what is my point? My point is that I started getting really angry with myself, and you know, people were okay, not people, like one person reached out to me and they were like, hey, why aren't you doing videos anymore? And I was like, and I just told them the truth. I was like, I'm super sad. Like, I'm super sad and I'm not okay. And they were so nice, and they were so nice and so understanding, and someone who has been a really good friend since I started this channel. And even though we've like never met in person, I consider them a friend and somebody who is just incredibly brave and incredibly kind, and someone I aspire to be like. So you know who you are. And I'm really just in awe of how I'm not particularly religious. Like, I was raised Catholic, but I'm not like, I mean, I go to church every once in a while, but I'm always amazed at how I have always gotten that boost of spiritual infusion, spiritual welfare when I've needed it. And so, yeah, I'm hoping that that happens for you too. And I decided that I was done being so sad that I couldn't function. I'm still working through it every day and trying to be okay. And I've had to be okay with not being okay. And just being somebody who I've always been very mission oriented. So like I have to have a project, like I have to have a thing that I'm working on, or else I just kind of fall apart and don't know what to do. I just kind of look around like, what do I do with my hands? You know? But so I just decided that I was going to start making content again, and you might see a couple of new things on the channel. Like I have some ideas about doing spotlights on women in history. So I have a Pinterest board called Awesome Women, and if you follow me, it's Chubby Girl in the World. You can take a look at it's a public board, and it's about all these points in history where, like, there was this one woman who she's in an exhibition game, so like not like a game in the season, but like where they just kind of show off their new players. She had signed a contract with like the National League, National Baseball League, or whatever it was called then, and she struck out Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig in the same game. The next day her contract was canceled and women were barred from entering the national leagues. So like, where's that movie? You know? Or the one about the night witches, which I'm actually working on that content right now, and that's going to probably be the first one. But it's basically about some crazy like bad MFers who were Russian pilots who fought against the Nazis, where they would have to like climb out onto their plane and like restart their planes after they dropped their like bombs, so like the Nazis couldn't like get them on radar. So yeah, so stories like that, you know, just about women in history. And like I'm really passionate and a student of history, and I love it. I love makeup and fashion too, and so that's not going to change. But I just feel like sometimes a part of me is, you know, doesn't feel like talking about clothes, or maybe there isn't a whole lot to talk about in clothes that week or that month, or there's not a whole lot going on, you know. And I'm still working out my feelings with like the body positivity movement, and still kind of trying to figure out like where I lie on that spectrum, because I am someone who believes in, you know, trying to be as healthy as you can, and being somebody who, you know, promotes someone who promotes like a healthy lifestyle and living, and trying to live up to that. But I also am not someone who, I don't think you owe that to the world. I think it's a good idea for you personally and for the people around you. But at the same time, like, I'm not someone who wants to sit there and like police what you eat, or tell you that, you know, just because like you post on TikTok or Instagram or whatever in like a bathing suit, that doesn't mean you're promoting obesity. It means like you like going to the beach, you know, so, or the pool or whatever, or maybe you just like taking pictures of yourself in a bikini. I don't know. You do you. But that's like all the messy, complicated brew that's been going on with me. How are you? let me know in the comments down below if you have any like brands that you're interested in for like reviews of clothes. Oh, I do have, so just a couple other things. I did purchase the e.l.f. J Kiss palette. It's a beautiful rainbow palette. I just tracked it. It's in Ohio, so that review will be coming. And I'm going to be putting up a video about Michelin, is it Michelin or Michelin? Pittman? I don't remember. I will. It is a amazing like indie, I think they're an indie brand clothing brand based in LA, and they go up to 4X, and they have this really cool like retro sort of like monster movie vibe to a lot of their clothes. And like imagine Dita Von Teese meets plus size meets like monster movie marathon. And so I actually bought a few things already, and I'm really excited to review them. They look really, really well made, and so I'm really excited to put those things to the test. I just ordered it, and so with shipping right now, I don't know when they're gonna get here. So hopefully those things will come soon, and we'll be able to talk about them like more in depth, because I don't want to make a video without like having the clothes here, you know what I mean? Or I could just do like a window shopping video, and then like I could show you the things I bought, but I might just wait for the reveal for that. So you've survived without me for this long. I don't know how. Yes, I do. So I really, really hope that 1, you are safe, 2, you are staying healthy, and 3, that you are staying sane, and 4, forgiving yourself if you aren't, because it is a global pandemic and you are not expected to do that. You're not expected to be super productive. It's great if you are, and if that's how you're coping, then awesome. But also understand that it's okay if at this time you just need a little bit of time to cocoon and self-soothe and be okay. You can't stay there forever, but if you need to stay there for a bit, that's okay. So I am so grateful for I'm so grateful for the community that exists here on Instagram and just in this space in general. And I cannot thank you enough for being the kind of people who care. And I'm a big believer in the colloquialism that your vibe attracts your tribe. And thank you so much for being my tribe, and thank you so much for understanding and for being there in a time when I really, really needed it. And I don't know how to end this video. So I'll say good night and goodbye, or good morning, whatever time it is now. And I hope that you just have an amazing day. Bye.